for our next presentation. I am Nikki Gutierrez. I am the moderator for our next presentation, Word and Image, Exploring Modern Haiga, which will be presented by Annette Aquino and Linda Papanicolaou, sorry. So, and I shall begin with their short biographies, since it's 3 o'clock now. Annette Makino is an award-winning haiku poet and artist who draws inspiration from the natural beauty of Northern California. In 2011, she launched an art business, Makino Studios, to share her Japanese-influenced art with the world. Annette's poems and artwork regularly appear in the top journals and anthologies of haiku and haiga in English. Her poems have taken honors in the Touchstone Awards, the Harold G. Henderson Haiku Contest, the Gerald Brady Senru Contest, the Museum of Haiku Literature Award, the Poet Haiku Award, and the Jane Reihold Prize, among others. And Linda Papanicolaou is recently retired as an art historian and middle school art teacher in Palo Alto. She came to haiku 12 years ago as an extension of her teaching. Since then, haiku, senryu, tanka, sequoian, haibun, and haiga have been an important part of her creative activities. Since 2005, she has been the editor of Haigaonline, a major internet journal devoted to the art of combining haiku with images. A member of the Haiku Society of America, Haiku Poets of Northern California, and the Yuki Teikei Haiku Society, she publishes in online and print journals and participates in a variety of online haiku poetry groups. In addition to editing Haigaonline, she has been an assistant director of WH Haiku Multimedia, a resident artist of Moonset, and an editorial board member of the World Haiku Review and Modern Haiga. Their presentation will be split into 2 portions. The first portion will be seeing Annette showing her watercolor haiga over the past 10 years, specifically from her book Water and Stone. And then Linda will be doing another presentation as well. And in the other half of the presentation will be a workshop where people will have their chance of writing haiku and everything like that. So Annette, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay, cool. Also, in between their PowerPoints, there will be a few minute Q&A. So please put your questions in the chat and I will read them out. So Annette, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. All right. So this is called Water and Stone, 10 Years of Art and Haiku. And you really don't have to read all this, but I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to all the editors of haiku journals and judges of haiku contests for making our community such a vital and rich one. Okay. I'm sorry, but I'm having trouble moving my slides for some reason.
Annette, are you trying to use your arrow keys, or are you using your? I try using your mouse clicks first.
Okay, then I need to go out of. Oh,
there you go.
For some reason that worked. Okay, great. Sorry about that. So I just wanted to show you my tools. On the left is the ink stone and ink stick. And you can see I grind the ink in that stone. And in the middle are bamboo brushes from various places, including from Japan. And on the right are Gansai paints. These are Japanese watercolor paints that I like. They're a little bit more opaque and rich than Western watercolors. Oh, and up at the top left, you can see my chalk. And then there's a little red tin that has the special ink. Spring. Low tide, all the things I've left behind. Cowlick, some part of me still wild. Plain brown bulb, the mystery of becoming. Sandstone trail, the dog laps water from my cupped hands. Mountain meadow, 10,000 ways to open into grace. So many wishes, the weight of a dandelion. This one actually goes with a Haigu I'll read. It's called Lost and Found. The dog is supposed to be from my 11-year-old. Searching online for a hypoallergenic breed, she finds a small white Poodle Bichon mix listed by an animal rescue group. One hot summer afternoon, we pick him up from his foster mom in the parking lot of a Sacramento gas station. Scrawny and shaved almost to the skin, with huge brown eyes, Misha attaches himself to us right away. My daughter falls head over heels, saying, "I love him so much that sometimes I just have to laugh to let it out. I feel like I'll burst if I don't." Misha has had a hard run. It seems he was lost or abandoned somewhere near the Mojave Desert. When picked up and taken to the San Bernardino pound some weeks earlier, he was emaciated, filthy, matted, and suffering from giardia. He had dog bite marks on his head and shoulders and an infected cut almost completely encircling his neck. But it turns out his deepest wounds are emotional. Thrift store puzzle, the holes you can never fill. In our first days and months together, we learned that Misha has severe separation anxiety. When left alone, he claws his way through screen doors, digs under gates and fences, chews through leashes, and scratches up door frames and floorboards, all in desperate attempts to find us. He is determined he will never again be abandoned. We watch dog training videos, read dog books, and discuss the problem with Misha's vet. But through tough love, Misha trains us to take him everywhere with us. And as anyone could have predicted, I end up taking over his care from my daughter. Home from errands, a hero's welcome from the dog. Despite Misha's issues and all his trauma, he turns out to be a very sweet fellow who brings a lot of comedy and laughter into our home. He's pushing 15 now, 105 in dog years, and going blind and deaf. But his dogship still makes sure we get our daily walks at the beach, along the river, or through the woods. And for short bursts, he can zoom around like a puppy, barking at us to try and tag him. Again and again, I tap his rump as he zooms past. Again and again, I claim him. The jingle of the dog's tags, wild currant in bloom. Summer. Summer solstice, the skipping stone all the way across. Spiral labyrinth, still hoping for a shortcut to enlightenment. Lines of foam, over and over the sea writes its story. Breeze through the oaks, something still right with the world. Sun-baked orchard, collecting cherries in my hat. A question answered with a question, clucking hens. Our easy silence, every puddle, sky deep. There's a second haibun I want to read that goes with this one. It's called The Same River. For the first time, my family is spending a week at a cabin by the Klamath River in a remote corner of Northern California. My daughter is still a newborn. One afternoon, she looks up at tree branches swaying in the wind and laughs her first laugh, like the ringing of 1,000 small bells. 5 years later, on a sunny morning by the river, my son practices walking as his older sister holds both of his hands for support. I watch them manage a few steps, then topple over together at the water's edge. They sit in the sand, naked except for their sun hats, grinning. Bend in the river, the obstacles that form us. Over the summers, we develop a routine of swimming, hiking, and reading on the cabin's shady back porch, legs propped up on the railing. We feed the chickens and goats and hunt for toads by flashlight. We pick blackberries for breakfast and watch meteor showers on our backs on the grass at night. No cell phone reception or Wi-Fi in the cabins, an inconvenience and a gift rolled into one. Cricket songs, stars shine, all this summer night. This July, the kids are 20 and 24. Other than a couple of years when there were wildfires nearby, we have been coming here for the past 25 summers. Once I watched them like a hawk when they were anywhere near the water. Now they are better swimmers than I am, paddling strongly through the current toward the far shore. River current, I practice letting go. Fall. Scent of wood smoke, the way our shadows lean together. Maple leaf, the art of letting go. Dappled day, the way the river weaves through stones. For better or for worse, our lights and darks tumbling together. Indian summer, the sky the color of forever. Mouth of the river, a never-changing story told to the sea. Empty bowl, I explain daylight savings to the dog. Swaying branches, finding the places where we connect. Winter. Fog-shrouded coast, we listen to the view. Redwood time, the steady journey from earth to sky. Evening stars, one by one counting our blessings. Fox tracks, who was I before I was tamed? Silent night, all the stars we could wish for. Small sandpaper tongue, the cat decides I need a bath. The time we are given, sparks rise through darkness to join the stars. Water and stone, how we shape each other. So that is it. as Nikki mentioned, I have a book coming out. I'm actually getting the author's proof tomorrow or the next day from Amazon. So I'm hopeful that if there's no major surprises there, that I will be able to make it available for sale later this month. And if you would like to hear when it's going to be published, you can sign up at my website, makinostudios.com, or email me, annette@makinostudios.com. Thank you so much.
Those were lovely Haiga there, Annette. And so we'll move into a quick questions from the chat. Most of the chat, Annette, what you should look through is just giving compliment after compliment for your Haiga. So
Thank you.
go look that up. They're beautiful. The first, so if you have any questions, please put in the chat. I did grab a couple. So the first question is from Sari Grandstaff, is what font do you use?
I'm actually trying to remember. I use Keynote, which is the Apple version of PowerPoint. And it might have been one of their defaults. No, I changed it from Helvetica, and I think it might be Josephine Sans, but I can check it and I'll put it in the chat later. Unless you mean the hand-painted part, which is hand-painted. So there is no available font for that, although I've had a graphic designer create a font from my hand-brushed letters that I've used in my book. So that's a new development as of a week ago.
That's pretty cool. The second question I have is from Sherry Grant. Do you do a hybrid of digital and traditional art, or mostly traditional, hand-painted or digital? That's kind of the question right there.
What are digital? Oh, hand-painted? Oh yeah, these are all hand-painted. The only thing is that I will then paint the words on a separate sheet of paper, typically, scan those and digitally combine them. I also sell a lot of greeting cards with my art, so those have different words usually than the haiku. So that makes it easy to kind of change it around. Yeah.
All right. So PMF Johnson asks, when starting these, do you start with the haiku or the drawing?
Yeah, it's a good question. I used to always start with the haiku, and then it was not that hard to come up with the art. But sometimes I just really want to do some kind of image and I don't have a haiku for it. And then I have to come up with the haiku after the fact. And for some reason that is a lot harder for me. But sometimes it's just how I have to do it.
And then Blanca Acaro is asking again, what is the name of your book? Yeah,
it's Water and Stone, 10 Years of Art and Haiku, and it should be available on Amazon by the end of the month. And I can, it'll definitely be on my website. A notification will be on makinostudios.com when it's ready.
Cool. And I see some people asking what your email is. I should have put that in the chat earlier. Apologies for that. But could you just remind people how to contact you best way, so that way they can ask you all extra questions about your craft and stuff, since we're probably going to be moving on to Linda's presentation.
It's Annette at makinostudios.com, and I'll put that in the chat here too. So.
Thank you. All right. Last call. Oh, another question from PM Johnson. How long does each drawing take to complete?
It's maybe done over 2 or 3 days, but not working continuously. So I'm not sure what to say. There's a lot of time actually that you don't see, which is figuring out what I'm going to create and finding the composition and working out the plan. And then the actual painting might be, I don't know, 6 hours or something.
Cool. So I believe that is all for the questions in the chat I see. Also, thank you, Michael, for helping out with providing the email and addresses. And website. Linda, are you ready to go?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So let's see. I'm just sort of realizing, no. Sorry, I'm in a shared room right now. I'm just realizing that I don't get myself on the screen. So there I've got the gallery, so at least I see myself. We're going to be doing a little bit of change of gears. Annette has asked me if I would help out with the workshop or an exercise as part of this. And so what we planned is that I would give you a little bit of a short introduction with some slides on ways of linking with Haiga, and then we try it out. Annette and I picked out 4 images. We for sure will get to 3. There is a 4th. And we're going to give you a chance to try poeming them and put them on the chat. And Nick will do his wonderful duty of picking up the poems and we can read them out. And I'll give you a little bit more information about doing that when the time comes. But I think what I'll do first is, let's see, let me go into a share screen. I'm going to apologize that when I gave a revised biography to Nick, there was a typo in it that was perpetuated from the file as I gave it to Yuki Teikei last week. I started Haiga as I came in from an art teacher. From art, I came in thinking in the beginning that I was going to always be just doing Haiga, and I discovered very, very quickly that you can't be any good at Haiga if you don't, or let me say, you are only as good as the haiku. So I have been sort of working on it, but I think I started just before 2000. And I started editing Haigaonline in 2005. So it's been longer than the 12 years, but I would say that I'm not sure I would own up to anything I wrote in those early years. So it goes 2 ways. Let me do the share screen and get up my slideshow. Okay, now I'm accustomed when I'm teaching, oh shoot, let's see what we got here. Okay, when I'm teaching, I'm accustomed to having a second login so I can see what everybody sees. Do you see the, what on earth, Adobe? Okay.
Yes.
Do you see my title page now?
Yes, we do.
Okay, great. So this is I'm going to give you a little bit, some exercise and a little bit of background. No 2 people, I think, who do Haiga link in the same way. But one thing I've discovered is that a real stopper for a lot of people, even experienced haiku poets, is I don't know how to do it. When I started, probably with World Haiku Club around 2001, people were still getting the hang of Haiga. And I saw in the early days on Miti Abe's old websites where you could poem photographs that he would put on. There were people who I knew from my research were very, very good poets, but what they were doing was simply using a haiku to describe what they saw. And at the same time, there were people who were saying, no, 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 you're not supposed to do that. You don't just caption the photo. You don't just tell us what we can already see. And okay, so, and then more with more of a sledgehammer, I've heard people even fairly recently say the haiku and the illustration aren't supposed to be about the same thing. Well, okay, but if you're wondering where to begin, that can be pretty intimidating. Different people have different ways of doing it if they're experienced Haiga artists. But I'm just so, what I'm going to ask is that people who do Haiga, what I'll ask you to do is when you see me sort of telling you about how I do it, if you could put your working method in the chat too. I mean, like the question that was asked of Annette, do you start with the haiku or the image? What's your method for linking them? Okay. And so it'd be interesting to collect some information about what other people do here. I'm going to show you mine. What I decided early on is that I picked up from some early literature, maybe it was Bruce Ross, I can't remember, that Haiga uses Renku-like linking. And so that was sort of an aha for me that Haiga is a linked art form using what's called text-image interacting. Renku is text-to-text, Haibun is text-to-text. Okay, so treat it like that. And so what I've done is spend a lot of time thinking about and trying to learn about other ways of linking. And I'll show you how I apply a Renku linking to Haiga. Okay, so one thing is that Renku linking is fairly well developed. I gave you one source on this slide. I love the Bill Higginson's Renku Home website. There is an article that I really devoured in my early days called Link and Shift. And in there, there's a very brief reference to different modes or manners of linking, linking on person, linking on place. So in other words, in Renku, you're taking the verse before you and deciding maybe, is there a person in it that you want to include? Place, season, time of day, and there are others. And so I'll show you how I do it with Haiga. There are other references that I've found that you can get into a lot more detail, but this one on Renku Home is a very brief list of them. And here's how they can, I'm sorry, hard fingers on the slides. The big thing that I would say is, you know, if you've been faced with somebody who says, well, the haiku and the image aren't supposed to be on the same thing, and you're saying, well, where do I begin then? My conviction is that Haiga linking is not sheer inspiration intuitive. Well, you can get to that point, but really it's a craft that can be learned, okay? So what happened here? Okay. So here's what I've got is one image, a photo of mine. And what I'm going to do is show you how to use something else I'm going to add in. I hope it isn't too complicated. It's called visual thinking strategies. Art teachers use it, museum educators use it now. It's a way of getting into the image, and it dovetails pretty well with Renku linking. This is an image you might have called to wonder what it is later. This is a historic schoolhouse at Watkins Mill in Missouri. So when you're faced with an image, if you're starting with an image, the first thing you do is look very carefully at it, and VTS strategies are, what do you see? What is going on in this picture? Well, I see an old schoolhouse with some rather uncomfortable student desks. Probably they had 2 students per desk. There's a wood stove in the back. It's kind of a gloomy, not a very child-centered room. And outside is a very lovely day. It looks springish, actually. It was summer and it was a stinking hot day. But it looks cold and sort of, to me, sort of repressive in the classroom, and rather appealing to be outside on this day. So I've just answered to you what makes you, the first 2 questions, what makes you say that. The third question is the one that's really important for Haiga. The third question is, what else? Because remember, the poem you're going to want to write isn't just about what you see. We're linking to it. Thinking back to what Kala said yesterday, you don't want a link that's too close or there won't be that much interest. In other words, you don't want a haiku that just tells you what's already in the picture. You also don't want a haiku that's so far away that haiku and image don't speak to each other. You want one in sort of the sweet spot. And the what else is how you hone in on the sweet spot. What's not in the picture? What more do you see? Thinking of what Adelaide said this morning, think about other senses. What do you hear, smell, feel? What's the emotional mood? So that where else, what else is where you go when you really want to start the writing. And what I'm going to show you is a few that I wrote to this image using manners of Renku linking. Let's see. Okay, linking on place. What else is there? What doesn't appear in the picture? Can you engage more senses than the vision? Vision is predominant, but we want to access the others to make it richer. Okay, the Franklin Coal Stove, now cold to the touch, Schoolhouse Museum. Or Pioneer Schoolhouse, a Meadowlark's song from the prairie tall grass. Let me double back and see that I didn't skip. Okay, hold on. Okay. So what I've done here is bring in tactile and music, auditory, but there are many more that you could add in there. You could write as many poems, but you see they're still fairly close, but they're moving away from just the sheer picture. Person is a common one. Who else is there? Well, in this case, teachers, students, someone else. I was on a tour group with teachers on an NEH seminar. I didn't mention them. When I published this recently, and it was a manipulated version, it was The School Year Begins, a brand new teacher full of ideas. And so this is, with manipulation in the image, this is the version that was actually published. And I would say what got me in, okay, there's a season where the school year begins, what the reaching into the emotion of the thing, I was thinking that the image shows me the heavy-handedness of the institutionalism under which teachers work. And so what I wanted is a haiku that expressed the original optimism of a teacher who's just starting. So I was looking for contrast there. Other questions you could ask is season. Is there a season in the image you could enhance or amplify? If not, can you give it a season? Another kind of linking you could do is what's in Japanese or in Renku theories called nostalgic image, which would be literary or historical allusion. And this is one that I kept thinking of. Remember, this little Milltown schoolhouse was in Missouri. Missouri summer, the ghosts of Tom and Becky at the schoolhouse door. Because I think that the time that the schoolhouse was built was probably roughly the time that Twain was writing about. So anyway, those are just a few. I have lots more. The one thing I will say is if you're setting about to poem an image, keep going, try multiple modes, and don't just take the first poem that comes to you. As you reach deeper, the poems will probably get better, and eventually you'll come up with one that you really, really like. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to pull up some photos, and here's your chance to try some yourself. The images that Annette and I have picked out are all works by artists, and so this is going to be image first, and frankly it'll be what we call ekphrasis, writing to an image by that is an artwork. And so I'm going to ask you to think about the visual thinking strategies. Start by looking at the picture. What do you see? What's going on in the picture? And what makes you say that? And then go into the what else. We've got 4, well, we'll certainly show 3. I'm not sure it may not be chance for 4, but we'll certainly try 3. And I'm going to go through 3, giving you not a huge amount of time to look at each one, but what I will do then is go through them, give you a chance to look and pick the one that you like or that inspires you, that you can hit the ground running with it. And if we move, and we will move on, but then what I'm also going to do is to put links in the chat so that you can click and bring it up on your own and write, and then post any poems you come up with in the chat. Do we have anything else? What do you think? Anything I missed, Annette? Okay, sorry, I didn't get, let's see. Okay, here's the first picture. Whoopsie, heavy-handed fingers again. You're getting a quick view of all of them. Okay, here's the first picture. We're not going to tell you who the artists are, just respond to the image. And I'm going to give you 30 seconds for this one. Okay.
I didn't
Okay.
get that. Could you try again?
Which one?
Sorry, I'm still not sure about that.
Oh, I'm sorry to all of you. That was my stupid Siri again. It thought I was talking to it. I detest Siri. Here's number 2 image. And while I'm going to do this, I'm going to go and get the links for you now. Okay. We'll try just 3 for right now. If we have a 4th one, we'll go for it. Okay. And here is the 3rd one. Okay. Now, the other thing, I'll ask Michael Dillon Welsh for a favor too. Remember when people were posting yesterday, trying to figure out how to get the thing in 3 lines? Michael, I remember, had the information, how you do it on a Mac and how you do it on a PC. Michael, if you're there, could you repost that one?
I will.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Oh, Siri, honestly.
Press Shift Enter to create a line break on a PC or Control Return on a Mac.
Okay, everybody got that? I see that people are putting the slashes. Of course, you can do that too. Okay, I'm going to put now, we've got 3 of them, and I'm going to put the, if you want to get at your image again and you feel, okay, I'll go on to the 4th one too, why not? Okay, here's the 4th one, if you happen to like that one. Okay, and I'm going to put the, okay, well, let's see. Okay. Can you tell the difference between, okay, can you tell the difference between Michael's voice and Siri's? Someday somebody will tell me how to get rid of Siri too. Okay, why is this not going in? Okay. 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 Okay, so here's the references. The first one, oh, I see, didn't hyperlink. The first picture, okay. This one is Richard Mayhew, who's in his 90s. He is a very famous African-American artist who lives, I think, near Santa Cruz. And he does these very beautiful, mysterious, colorful landscapes. Okay. Number 2 is Mary Cassatt feeding the ducks. Number 3 is Paul Strand, Wall Street. Number 4 is O'Hara Koson, Wagtail on Lotus Plant. One thing I will say is if you do, okay, and here are some of the credits again. I've got them with links in the chat. The one thing I will say is if you do one and you decide this is so good, I really want to publish it or put it out there, do be aware, because of my teaching background, I am big on copyright and permissions. Only Cassatt and Koson are public domain. The other 2, but Richard Mayhew is alive and Paul Strand did not die 70 years ago. So you have to be a little bit careful if you're going to use either of those. Okay. Okay. Mayhew again, if you're thinking. Okay, Cassatt again. Okay. And Paul Strand. And Koson. Okay. Let's see, there's some beautiful poems coming in here. Nick, are you going to handle the sharing?
Yes, I was just waiting for you to give me the nod for that.
Anytime you're ready, if you want to go through and start, and you know, it's if you want to read them or if you want to ask the author to read them, either way will work for me.
I will read
At
them.
this point, 10 minutes, so it'd be
Yeah.
probably faster if we have you just read them.
Yep, that's I'm going to do that. I'm going to start with the first one. Blanca Baquero. Again, I apologize for any mispronunciations of any names. They wrote one about the schoolroom, that one earlier. They said, schoolroom, hoping I get to sit near the window. And then Milan Rajkumar, foggy morning. I look up at the picture of myself. PMF Johnson, one wild duck. Amid the domestics, his squabbling the same.
Oh, I realize the piece of information that I forgot to ask you to put in, which was to tell us which
Image?
image, so we can only sort of guess, I'm afraid. Let's see.
Well, with the subject, we probably could piece it together, but yeah.
Okay.
But should I keep reading through them?
Keep reading, yeah.
Okay, from Robin. Lost in tomorrow, the way forward not clear.
Okay, that's clearly this one. Okay.
Christine Villa. Mountain breeze. I hear him whisper my name. Jayashri Manili. Oh, sorry. Bedroom window. The sky painted with morphine.
Which one was that?
It did not say, unfortunately. I do not know which one that would be.
It's for the very first one, Mayhew.
Ah.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Oh, look, take a look even without the window frame. Yes.
Next we have Maxine Berger. Thursday at the park with Granny, maid's day off. Patty Niehoff. Picture of a mountain, not as sharp as memory. And then Margie Gustafsson. The cliff dwellers. Colors that you can almost eat. And then Michael Henry Lee, this is he put down the number 3, so the third picture, I assume. Quitting time, headed for the doors. David Oates. First one from the distance, the sound of a woodpecker. A mother now. I eat the brown spot on the banana. And then patting me off again. I think this is the third image. Little people hustling underneath the building's empty mouths. I think this is the next one's from Dana Deli Bobi. Long shadows of the winter sun, deep, lonely doorways.
Clearly this one, yes.
The next one's from Michael Dylan Welch, which I believe it is the first one, but that's my educated guess. So the way to my childhood home, cloudy. And then David Oates, the duck one. So the second image. Tonight for dinner, duck à l'orange. Orange? I don't know French. Orange, I think. I don't know. Another one for this image, Michael Dylan Welsh. Still feeding the ducks the way I did as a child. This one's from Milan Rajkumar. End of autumn, the lotus leaves unvisited. So for the fourth image.
Okay. Nice to have one from the fourth.
I think next one's from Cam Sato. I think it's the first image. Sunset, the hills reflection lost in the orange. Christine Ailes, sorry. I think it's gonna be the first one. Mountain walk, pink flowers for your red hair. And then Basali Chatterjee, Dutt, Hillsong, the tea picker's tune in my morning chai. And then from Faye Aogi, Mountain at Dusk, Memory Lane to Home. And then David Oates, the third image. Early, not yet quite, enough coffee. And then Diana, for the first image. Bleary, after a night on the town, prayers for rain. And then from Carly Sigel Thorpe, I think it's the third image. All the colors, I only see black and white.
It was actually the first image.
Oh,
but
first image.
I suppose it could work for either, I realized afterwards.
Sorry.
Read that again. There's an interesting linking there.
Yeah, everyone's really liking the first image, I feel.
And see, that is interesting to me because I worried that it might be fun, that people might find it difficult. Mayhew often paints trees. If you go to his website, you'll see a lot of beautiful trees. This one I thought had a path in that might inspire people, and I'm pleased to see everybody is going for that one. It's lovely.
And then another one from Faye, I believe it's the fourth image. Lotus Pond, a key to the heaven. And then Michael Henry Lee, number 3, the third image. Quitting time, headed for the door of perception. And then another one from Michael Dylan Welsh. Open secret, wildflowers in the meadow.
Which one was that, Michael? Which image?
First one.
First one.
First one? Okay, thank you.
Let's see. For number 3 from Karen Harvey. Tall column, matchstalk men with bowed backs downtown. From Agnes Savage, the Paul Strand Wall Street photo. Communist childhood. Waiting with grandmother for salt and pepper. The fourth image from Pipa Phillips. The ripples, you can't see the lotus about to bloom. And then from Kika Weber, the first image. Sunset behind the mountain, reaching out. And then Mark Favar, the second image, I believe. Summer haze, flapping of wings, blurred out. Is that or the fourth image? I'm not sure. And then Susan, I think it's going to be the third image. Through history, the long shadows of man. And then, yeah, there's just a lot of haiku here still. I don't think we're going to get to all of them, unfortunately, but very beautiful haikus so far. Linda, do you want to keep going?
It's totally up to you. You probably need a break.
I've
too,
sent
don't
mine
you?
to the wrong place
It's
3 times.
12:51 right now.
Yeah, it's 12:51. So we probably can go another couple minutes.
Okay, well, let's handle it this way. Is there anybody who has one posted in the chat who has not had one of your poems read already?
Yes,
would you
I
like
have.
to unmute yourself and read it?
I
Please, one
can.
at a-
This is
please.
Jackie.
One at a time, please. So, yes, raise your hand. Use the raise hand feature, so I will call on you, if that's okay. So I saw Marcy from SoCal saying first.
And then Vera.
Yeah, and then Vera.
And then Sandra.
And then
I can't get back to the screen where I can wave at you. This is Jackie.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Number 1,
okay.
hiding the sunset, a boa who swallowed an elephant.
And then you said Vera was next.
Vera? Yeah.
Vera?
Number 1, blurred lines of the 60s, hard stone.
Thank you, Vera. And then I saw Jill Lange's hand next.
Okay. There was somebody else who we skipped. Sandy, was it?
No, it's Jackie. I can't get my
Jill.
screen where I can wave at you. So when you get to me, if you do.
Okay, so after Jill,
Okay.
we'll go to Jackie then.
Okay.
I right away went to the donuts. So it's Red Rock, coffee at a table with window view.
Okay.
Jackie?
I did the Mayhew painting. I said 3 old dogs dreaming. They will still awake. That looks like a dog to me.
On one,
And that's on the next one was the Mayhew or the old schoolhouse. And I wrote before the service, teacher's urn on his desk with apples.
Okay.
Next hand I saw was Sandra Payne.
Hi, so mine, I can't find it again, so I'm gonna have to do it from memory. So it was it's the third one, black and white, trudging to work, stark madness.
Mm.
And then iPhone's hand is up. I do not know who you are.
Yes, that's me, Dita Kavanaugh. My poem is for the first image, wildfires calling you to come home.
nice.
Okay. And then next hand is Helen Ogden.
Yeah, this, excuse me, for the black and white one. I believe that was the third. Coming and going from nowhere. I'm sorry, coming and going from somewhere to nowhere.
And then next thing I saw was Sorry Grandstaff.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I wrote for the first, excuse me, for the Wall Street photo, pillars of society erecting another wall. And then for the first image, lost weekend at the Airbnb fading into Monday.
We'll do the last two hands that I saw here. So we have Sabina's iPad.
Yeah, that's me. Hold on. Where am I now? Okay, I've got image number 1. Clouds, the sunrise, sunset unbecoming, mountains on the rainbow. And then I got the Wall Street one. I've got city life, walls so dark, unassuming, prison life, no life. Thank you.
And then last one will be Carolyn Bell. Again, apologies, there's just way too many beautiful haiku to go through. So, but Carolyn, you're the last one.
On the first picture, wildfire, tempting us to say beautiful.
Thank you. So it
Okay.
is 3:56. So, and I know there's still probably another 100 haiku in the chat. So,
Wow.
but
Well,
yeah,
save the chat then.
save the chat,
Save the
everyone.
chat.
So,
Yeah, so for my final slide is a thank you to everybody for joining us, and particularly Nikki, couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Nikki.
Thank you both for a
Yeah.
wonderful presentation. It was really enlightening.
I'm going to
It
stop
was really
the share
fun.
now. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All
Thanks,
right.
everyone.
3-minute break till the next session.
Yep. I will be, our next session will be repetition and haiku, a presentation and workshop. And of course that starts at 4. So I'll be handing off to the moderator, Celia. So Celia, the floor is yours to get going.